The Empire needs general contractors just like you. Act now and get this limited edition Empire Shield and Blast General Contractor t-shirt. Click the link on petesbasement.com for a 15% discount. The Empire is counting on you.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the basement. We got a good episode going for you. Ramon's back as usual. We got Tony Wolf here, a Greenpoint native, author of Greenpoint of View, which is also available on which websites can we find
It's on griffonnights.com. GRYPHON.
Remember the Griffin Knights was Tom and Demetrios. They came on the show a couple of weeks back, and they were actually talking about Tony. Well, we've actually dragged him here against his will, and he's a little psychologically messed up from living in Greenpoint for so many years. He's actually happy to be here.
It's very sad.
Well, we'll see if we can change that over the course of the night. Tony, thank you for being on the program.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me in the basement.
So, before we get started on that, we got 2 weeks worth of books to cover, so we're going to do our best to get everything in for you guys. From 2 weeks ago, we're going to talk about Hellboy and the BPRD issue 5. We got The Witcher, the sequel to the first series from Dark Horse, Fox Children issue 1. Avengers, Ultron Forever issue 1. We got Kanan, The Last Padawan. We have Inhumans 0. And from this week, we got Jupiter's Circle, issue 1. The Legacy of Luther Strode, issue 1. We got Miles Morales, Ultimate Spider-Man, issue 12.
The final one, you said.
The final issue. And speaking of finals, Deadpool 45, also known as Deadpool 250, The Death of Wade Wilson.
Oh.
We're also going to talk about Convergence, obviously. That's the big one that came out this week.
Right.
And all of its 9,000 extra little titles. But before we do that, Greenpoint of View. Now, Tony, you're actually not a Greenpoint native, but I'm going to count you as one anyway because you've been living here long enough that you actually preceded the hipster movement.
I sort of did. It's funny. There's a Facebook group called Greenpoint Natives.
Yeah, I belong to it.
Oh, yeah, what's that?
I belong to that.
You belong. So, but most of that Facebook group, just so for your listeners, are like people that are 50 years or older.
Right.
And, I kind of weaseled my way in there, and I was like, at the time, I was like, I've lived in Greenpoint for 18 years, at the time, and they were very welcoming, they were very friendly. But it's actually from that group, too, that I learned about things like Winthrop Park instead of McGolrick Park and things like that. But yeah, I moved to Greenpoint in 1996 in the fall. I was looking for, like any artsy person who moves to New York, I just wanted a cheap place to live. And
back then it was cheap.
It was absolutely cheap.
Let me ask you this, a mildly personal question. I don't like to talk about money and shit like that, but what did you pay for rent when you first got to Greenpoint?
Okay, I will tell you. On national television, I will tell you. It's a very spacious 2-bedroom, right?
Nice.
High ceilings with a porch.
Nice.
$850 a month.
That's a fucking steal.
$850 a month in 1996.
1996. You don't even want to know what that shit goes for now.
My roommate and I, and the apartment, it's not like a palace, but it looks nice or whatever. We literally opened the door. The realtor was showing us the apartment. Opened the door, and we went, you said $850, right? Like, we're taking this. I don't even need to see anything other than, like, the interior of the door when you walk in.
I don't care if there's a dead guy in the bedroom. We'll clean it.
I don't care what the other rooms look like. $850, right? We're good? $850? It was insane. It was absolutely insane. And back then, you could get a really nice apartment in Greenpoint for $850, $900. And I looked in Queens. I looked in back then, and kind of like now, Astoria was where you would go.
Right.
If you were artsy, didn't have a lot of money, and just
you wanted
a place.
easy access to the city.
Easy access
and in
to
the
the
R
city.
train.
Exactly. But I looked in Astoria, and it's just every apartment I saw there was kind of weird, like no windows. Some basement place with no windows, or there was one place that was like 18 blocks from the subway. Anyway, the guy goes, it's a Greek realtor, still my realtor now, Socrates Realty. I'm giving you a plug, Andreas Socrates. They're actually maybe related to the actual Socrates. But he goes, let me show you a place in Greenpoint. And I was like, I just remember going, I never heard of Greenpoint. I'm from Long Island, so I'm kind of a New Yorker, but like the suburbs. It's different than growing up in the boroughs. And I remember going, all right, it doesn't cost me any money for him to show me a place, I'm 24, I don't have any, but I was like, Greenpoint, all right. I mean, show it to me. Show me your Greenpoint. And man, it was just the greatest neighborhood. Immediately, I fell in love with it. The apartment was fantastic. It was also right near the L, and back then no one cared about the L either.
Right. It was actually a train you can get on when the first one rolled in.
You could get on the L. The G did deserve some of its reputation back then.
It was the worst back then. If you missed it, you were in for a half hour's wait.
But since I had no money, especially no money at the time, and since I had a great apartment, I was like, I planned ahead. I was like, I'm going to bring a book. And I'm just going to, in my head, know that I'll be waiting 20 minutes.
Right.
And somehow it didn't piss me off as much because I was like, it's a foregone conclusion that I'll be sitting here for a long time.
Yeah, you owned it.
So I'm just going to kind of entertain myself.
Now you have another book, Greenpoint of View, coming out where I'm assuming we're going to talk about the trains, since it looks like there's some sort of train adventure coming.
I mean,
next.
maybe. So this book, what I wanted to do, I always drew. I did storyboard illustrations for a few different people through the years. I did a web comic for a friend. I'm an actor primarily, but I'm a lifelong comic book fan. I'm obsessed with comics and movies and TV. But about 2 years ago, buddies of mine were like, you should really make your own comic. Stop this. A buddy of yours writes something and he wants you to illustrate it. You can write. And I was like, no, I'm not that good a writer. They were like, make your own comic, damn it. Stop hemming and hawing and stop being like, I can't do it, whatever. And it's good advice for anyone. Like, if your friends are nudging you to make something and they feel you can make something, maybe you eventually better listen to them and make something. So I thought, well, what could I write about? And I'm a big superhero fan, right? But I was also into things like Harvey Pekar, American Splendor, any comics that were realistic, that were about autobiographical stuff. That book Mouse, years ago, that kind of opened up a whole new world. And I was like, oh man, you could just write about everyday life, and if you tell it well, hopefully people will care and communicate something. So I thought, I did social work with American Indian people in the Midwest, and I was like, I could write about that, but there were a lot of reasons I was like, that's probably it's a lot to bite off for my first comic that I write and draw, my truly first thing that's all me. So I thought, what is it about, like, trying to be a really hard editor on myself? Like, a lot of people write comics about their dating lives. Oh, my girlfriend, whatever this, or I'm depressed, or I don't have a girlfriend.
Same old story.
Same old story. And I was like, you know what? We've read those before. I've read those before. And I have to come up with something that I think I could talk about that hasn't been talked about a million times before. And I thought, well, what are the things that, like, if I'm at a party where I don't know a lot of people, is there any stories that I tell to strangers that they're like, whoa? And I thought,
neighborhood shit.
Well, everyone, when I say that I've been in the same apartment in Greenpoint for almost 18 years at that point, everyone goes, whoa, you've been in the same, no New Yorkers in the same place for 15 plus years. And like, you've been in, now because Greenpoint has taken off so much and Greenpoint's become so trendy with things like that TV show Girls and other things, I realized that, well, maybe I can sort of tell a story that I want to tell, but the timing is also good, meaning Greenpoint is now something that people care about, whereas in the past, they didn't care about it as much, So immediately I thought, okay, this is it. And my buddy Mike, who's a filmmaker, that Lou Teverini worked on his next film, he was like, I told him the title. I told him the idea. And he goes, and here's your title, Greenpoint of View. And I was like, oh, that is the title. Like, I thank you. He basically gave me that title. Let's drink to that. So I immediately had ideas for like 10 or 12 stories. And thank you so much.
Anytime.
Pete's Basement treats you right, let me tell you.
Only the best.
We're the best. So I began to write and draw the stories. And the first story is basically about gentrification. And when I saw the neighborhood start to transform, there was a moment in time, cheers.
Salud.
Salud. Where it went from being an old, sleepy, Polish, Russian, maybe Italian neighborhood.
Depending on which section
which section, right, exactly. But the first sort of like hipster things, that bar Enid's, when that bar opened,
I remember when that first opened, and I'm like, what
when that opened its doors, we didn't have anything like that in the neighborhood.
No.
And it was the young bohemian artsy kids who had just come out of college, just like I had a few years prior.
One of the things I have to point out that I forgot about until reading your book was, don't forget, it started with the trucker hats.
Yes. So
that resonated so much, and I'm like,
thanks.
Whoa.
Well,
like, it just, both of us, like, he's
Really?
like, yo, dude, the trucker hats. Like,
Right.
it's true.
So I'm not a big fashion observer, I think, but I do. One of the things that's funny, Watchmen, the book Watchmen, right? I'm reading Watchmen when I'm a teenager. One of the things it taught me, you know how Adrian Veidt in Watchmen, he has all the screens, the whole wall of 800 television screens. And he's such a genius that he'll scan all of them and he'll learn about the direction society is going in through taking the kind of mental average of everything that the media is showing. It was almost like Twitter before Twitter existed. And so I thought, I want to try to do that with my brain, which is not as powerful as that character's brain, but I'm just going to try to, like Sherlock Holmes also is a favorite character. I want to observe, and even if it's an area of society where I'm not an expert in. And I remember, before we had the word hipster, we had the trucker hats. And the trucker hats were on all the fashion ads, all the Gap ads. The word hipster didn't exist.
Not yet.
It was just trucker hats and maybe some plaid
Wasn't until like the
shirts.
mid, 2000s
Yes.
that the word hipster really started to
Right.
come about. And I remember growing up, like, I turned 21 in 2002.
Okay.
And at that, a little before that, don't drink underage, kids. Like, my friends and I would be like, yo, we're going to go to the north side and hang out. I remember a place called like the Pod, and then it was Planet Thailand over there.
Yes, Planet
And it was some of the
Thailand, yeah.
first spots that were really opening up. And I'm like,
Yeah.
first of all, like, we're going to the north side. Like, what the fuck for?
Yeah, why are we
you
going
know, like,
there?
what did he talk about? And all of a sudden, we walk into like this old factory that was renovated and turned into like a bar and a club. And I'm like,
Right.
where the fuck are we? What is
Yeah. going
on here? And it was still like back then, if you were on the north side, you were doing two things. You were either buying some drugs or you were dumping a body. Right. Not to say it was a bad neighborhood, but it was
Yeah.
quiet. Nothing
Or
was going
hookers.
on. Not so much over there. Long
towards
Island
Kent.
City, though.
If you're more like the north side towards Kent,
Towards Kent?
yeah, before the waterfront got pretty.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Unbelievable.
when I moved here, my impressions of Greenpoint was it was old Polish ladies
Yep.
mostly, and super
Yes.
safe.
That was
the
another
old
part.
people were walking around at like midnight.
Offering kielbasa to
Yeah, oh,
strangers.
yeah. Yeah,
That was
yeah,
another
yeah.
part I loved.
Yeah, there was a guy.
He's like, you want some?
He was an old, kind of disheveled Polish guy, and he was eating kielbasa like you and I would eat Pringles out of a can. and people would come up to me in the street in 96, 97. There were so few there were also not a lot of young people there. And I was 24, 25. And I remember, I guess maybe they all assumed I was Polish because people would walk up to me and be like, yeah, they were just, and I would be, and this guy offered me some kielbasa like a Pringles can, and it was just, and I was like, I have to remember this story, and I eventually drew the story. So
Let me ask you this now, because having arrived around the 96 era, late 90s, have you ever heard of, or have you ever had the privilege of going to a guy named Jimmy the Hot Dog Man?
no, Jimmy the Hot Dog.
Jimmy the Hot Dog Man was this old guy who used to be selling hot dogs under the BQE on Graham Avenue.
Wow.
Guy was there for almost like 49
Just a little
years.
cart.
Little cart selling hot dogs.
Okay.
But I'm trying to remember like when he stopped selling. So I couldn't, it was like a staple of my childhood.
Okay.
It was like dirty water dogs.
Dirty
It was
water,
just-
yeah.
And the guy had some sort of secret. Like they don't taste, like I could get one from any guy on the street in the city. Doesn't taste the same.
His didn't taste like that.
He did something to it. God knows what the secret was.
Okay, a little seasoning or something?
I've had a lot of people claim to know the secret. The closest guy I've ever found has been my buddy BJ, who does
yeah.
Grandma Rose's Pizza on Graham and Meeker.
Okay.
He's like 99% there. Like
Right.
it's so good. He's like, and he's a big dude. He got a very gruff voice, like Pete DeLuca, Jimmy the Hot Dog Man taught me the secret of the hot dogs.
He passed it on.
He's one of the only few people that addresses me by my full name.
Right.
He
Pete
will
DeLuca.
call me by my absolute first and last name.
I call that the Charlie Brown syndrome. Whenever everyone calls you your entire name. Because I'm reading the Charlie Brown comics when I was little, and I was like, it's weird that they call him by his entire name, right? I mean, Charlie Brown. So anyway, I did those comics, and I was thankful that they got somewhat of a positive reception. They got a little press. And then the guys at Griffin Knights, I want to thank them, Demetrios and Tom Griffin, and they offered to print it, and I didn't see it being a printed comic for quite a long time. I figured maybe in a year or two I'll self-publish once I have like 4 stories under my belt. But they wanted to print it when they were just 2 stories, and I was very thankful. And it's on sale at Desert Island Comics, that kind of hipster store in Williamsburg. And it might be at some other stores too. That's the one on
Metropolitan Avenue next to Crest Hardware?
Yes. It's also by the diner, right?
Kellogg's Diner.
Yeah. And I think I might be able to get Bergen Street Comics to take it too, because it seems like that would be up their alley, or St. Mark's. Anyway, so
it's absolutely a phenomenal book, and the thing I liked the most about it was it wasn't it didn't take long to really get into it, and it was like just like you said, like you're at a party and you got to tell a quick story to somebody. So it's a quick 2 to 3 page story of one of your times in the neighborhood, of which there are thousands upon thousands of gallons in this fountain of fucking resource that you have that you can just draw from just, make a quick 3-page book out of. How many stories do you possibly have from living in a neighborhood this long?
I mean, and anyone would have stories like this too. And I read, there's a guy named Seth Kushner who's a photographer and a comic book writer. He's friends with Dean Haspiel and that whole world, and he did a book called Schmuck. And Schmuck he's Jewish, so Schmuck, and he's married to a wonderful woman named Tara. But Schmuck was about all his dating misadventures, right? All his problems, all the screwed up dating, kind of like Woody Allen, he's just kind of a dorky guy and he has no clue. And he wrote, this Schmuck's about to be published now, and the intro was written by the guy who created that show Bored to Death.
Okay.
Who's also just created a new TV show starring Patrick Stewart that's going to come out in a few months. Anyway, so I was reading this, and Dean Haspiel stuff, Harvey Picar, things like Mouse. I'd read these comics all my life, and I was like, well, maybe I can tell these guys told their stories. Right. I guess I could tell my story. So I'm happy that it's worked out. And I just did a new one about Midtown Comics. Because, Midtown Comics exists because those owners of Midtown Comics, the guys who founded it, they had a video rental store on Manhattan Avenue in Greenpoint called Ultra Video. And as video rentals started to go down as a business because of cable TV getting bigger and bigger and bigger in the late 90s, they were losing money in that video rental store, and they were like, what can we do to give us some extra money? And they started selling comic books. So it was kind of a funny scene, a DVD store with a little section of comic books.
Right in the back.
Like not typical for a DVD store.
And it's funny because I discovered it. I used to buy my comics in Williamsburg on Llama Street.
Exactly. What was the store?
It was just called Llama Street Comics.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right off of Skillman Avenue.
And did that store go out of business?
It did. It's a bike store now.
Oh,
how's that for hipster?
And it wasn't nothing like Midtown is. It was just boxes underneath tables.
Yeah.
Okay.
And on the books
and
on
you
top
had
of the tables.
new issues were on top of folding tables. But what I noticed about Ultra Video immediately was one of the staples of Midtown Comics now is the back issues. And I walked in and I was like, there are Silver Age stuff here.
Yeah.
And ever since I was a kid, I was always fascinated by books from the 60s and older because it was just like an American art form to me. It's like this is history right here in front of me, and I can afford that one. Give me that.
Yeah.
And I only saw this at random comic conventions, so that was what first turned me on to Ultra Video.
Right.
I think I bought a Journey into Mystery 96 or so, which I still have when Thor fought Merlin. I still fucking remember it. That was my first purchase at Ultra Video.
It was Marvel's version of Merlin.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. So as the DVD, and it's funny, one of my friends pointed out, by the way, I'm saying DVD rentals, but in the late 90s, it was really VHS rentals.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
We're so used to compressing the time in our brains. So as the video rental business was kind of taking a dive, in a couple of years, all the blockbusters would go out of business, right? They said, look, let's take the money and start a comic book store. Maybe Manhattan could use a comic book store. And the fact that they could pay rent at the corner of Times Square.
The fact that they had the balls to make that jump.
Yes. Oh, exactly. And they said this was just before Giuliani kind of cleaned up Times Square. So you could actually afford that rent. Whereas if they had tried to get that property 2 years later, 3 years later,
never happened.
They're at 40th Street and 7th Avenue.
Yeah.
That is like the crossroads of the world.
Yeah.
Gorgeous location.
So Midtown Comics starts, and of course we all know the rest. Midtown Comics has become so
The rest
successful.
is history.
And I've known the guys ever since. So when I did this comic, one of the plot ideas, I said, I want to do I'm going to call it the secret origin of Midtown Comics. Because most people don't know that Midtown and all the owners have their roots in Greenpoint. So it would be something personal. It would be nice for the store, because I love the store. Yeah. But it would also be truly about Greenpoint roots. So I'm very happy. I'll work on the next stories and the next stories, and I'm just glad that you can also read it online for free. I mean, you can buy a comic if you want the physical comic, but you can read it online for free. I like the idea of a free web comic, and just put it out there and share something you made with the world.
I can tell you right now, if you're ever hard up for inspiration,
For inspiration. It's not just the Glenlivet.
Nope. I love hearing myself talk, so I would be happy to tell you stories.
Oh, sure.
Listen, you.
8 years.
Well, one of the ideas, actually, it's good that you say that. One of the ideas I thought of when I first started the series, it would be fun, and I do want to do this, so maybe I seriously will take you up on this. Every once in a while, I thought of doing what I would call a guest point of view.
Oh, that's cool.
And it would be Green point of view, but this issue is a guest point of view. Someone else would tell me their story, and I would basically draw their story as they kind of narrate it instead of me. So maybe we can do that.
I'm totally in for this.
History in the making on
Salute.
Pete's Basement, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely.
All right. But thank you guys so much for
Anytime,
checking it out.
Thanks for having a great book for us to read.
Thanks. Thank you.
Our buddy El Sinestro's always got questions. What do we got?
How are we feeling about Age of Ultron being 3 weeks away?
Woo! I'm drooling at this point. You know what pisses me off, I'll tell you right
excited.
now, is that fucking Europe, Asia, South America, everywhere else is getting the thing first.
That's a mistake about Asia, because they always release bootlegs from Asia. I'm just saying.
That's not the point. The point is I'm going to have a social media blackout for the next 2 weeks to avoid spoilers.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Pete.
So, like, if you guys don't hear from us on Instagram, Twitter, and everything else, you'll know why. Or specifically me, because I'm just going to have Roger do the shit because he doesn't care as much as I do.
They're just going into hiding.
And it's all to drum up U.S. market, like we need it at this point. Really?
Yeah, how much this shit made last time?
Seriously.
Thoughts on the Walking Dead TV spin-off debut this summer?
What is it even about? I don't know anything about it.
It's right after. No, it's during when the plague hit. Because in the show, it's Rick Grimes. He's been in a coma for a while.
Right.
The shit already hit the fan.
The world's already.
This is the shit hitting the fan process. People are getting sick, and the zombies are just starting to happen.
But it's in
remote
LA.
places.
It's in LA.
So
Easier
somebody
to shoot
basically
for them.
takes a bite of pineapple pizza and is like, and zombie.
At California Pizza Kitchen.
Let it go. Let it go.
No.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, Kirkman is a smart guy, I have to say. Kirkman has really shepherded all of his properties.
Yeah.
Everything the guy ever did, from Battle Pope to Walking Dead to Invincible.
I love that fucking
To
book.
everything the guy does. When he took over Marvel Team Up for a while.
Yeah.
Remember when they tried to revive Marvel Team Up? We were talking about Marvel Zombies. Kirkman is a smart guy. He hasn't stumbled yet, and he hasn't made a bad. Outcast is really good. That
Outcast
Exorcist
is
kind of thing.
good.
That's a beautiful book.
It stands to reason that if you're going to do a spin-off, you could set it anywhere. Like, they're where? Atlanta, I think, or just
Started
outside Atlanta or something.
Georgia.
Like, you could put other people in the zombie apocalypse that's going on everywhere, anywhere.
Right.
Like, you could do
That's
Greenpoint.
They're probably saving money though by shooting it in
Yeah,
LA.
at least the first
because they're
season.
spending tons of money shooting it in the South, which is cool.
Right,
I
yeah.
like the fact that show, the regular Walking Dead show, it's a location we never see on TV shows.
Yep.
No TV shows or movies take place in the South. Not really, I mean, not a lot.
I want to see zombie apocalypse in the winter.
I want to see zombie apocalypse in Greenpoint. I
There's
want to
the
see
next
some
book.
hipster zombies.
Zombie Apocalypse at Greenpoint. Someone's got to write that.
Hipster zombies. Oh,
Hipster zombies.
Just
Hipster
go after
zombies
them for the
come
sport
over
of
to
it.
you and like just shove like a fucking vegan meal in your face, and you're like, health food.
Hipster zombies on Bedford Avenue.
Yep. That's actually There's the title.
That's the title.
That's the title.
Yeah. Hipster zombies on Bedford. It's like a 1950s sci-fi movie. Also, by the way, on the topic of Walking Dead, I do like that the spin-off title is Fear the Walking Dead. Because it kind of sounds like a 1950s horror movie,
it does.
like Son of Kong or something. But how was The Strain? I never saw that show.
I fucking love that show.
Yeah?
I've heard nothing but good
Oh my
shit about
God.
it.
And the second season is about to start.
Yes.
Okay.
It's wonderful.
Okay. It's Guillermo.
Yes.
Right? Del Toro.
Yeah.
So.
You want to get on that? Huh?
I do. I will. I promise.
I mentioned
so many
Game of
TV
Thrones
shows.
several years ago.
I've had 2 friends that have told me to get on it, and I only have a season to get on that, as opposed to Game of Thrones, which is like 6 seasons in.
Right.
I'm sorry.
You got a lot.
At least I'm reading Chew, fucker.
Chew is a good book.
Chew is a good book, but he was late on that too.
I haven't read Lock and Key yet.
Neither have I. Neither have I.
Say ha!
Here we
Say
go.
ha!
Boom, boom, boom. All right, what does El Sinestro got for us?
Daredevil tomorrow. What are the crew's plans on digesting this milestone of VOD? Marathon, tantric style?
Okay, what was the second thing about water to cruise?
On digesting this milestone of VOD, marathon or tantric style?
I get
What are the
tantric
crew's
is like
plans on digesting this milestone? How are you gonna watch it?
tantric
Right.
means like you wait and you like
Tantric yoga.
Yeah.
Tantric
slowly
yoga Daredevil.
go into it and shit.
Okay, I don't want to talk about tantric with you.
I'm,
No, I am
That's a whole other kind of tantric.
Yeah.
I thought we was friends.
There we
I
are.
thought-
Not tantric friends. I'm gonna watch as much as possible Friday. Take a break Saturday because me and my wife usually hang out.
Right.
And then
And
Saturday.
she's excited to see it too, you said.
No, she just won't let. She won't be cool with me being up that late.
I see.
She's like my caretaker. Yeah. No, she takes care of me. Somebody needs.
I
to.
mean, it's direct pussy, so you're allowed to be whipped.
Yeah. I'm married. It's a bowling train.
Motherfuckers that do the whip shit just ain't getting it regularly.
Yeah.
But she's not interested in comics or Daredevil. I mean, this
She
is
might
the
be
kind of
into
show that
Daredevil.
might appeal to people
Yeah.
who aren't into comics.
Yeah, she might be into Daredevil. She didn't care for Walking Dead. She sees me passing by. She's like, "Oh my god, it's so depressing," and then she walks away.
Right.
Which is
Daredevil
true.
won't be as depressing as
No.
that, I don't think.
So that's it. Like
As
all
of
of
this
Friday and
moment,
Saturday night.
filming this, it is Thursday night, almost Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 4 hours.
I am going to be awake at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch this motherfucker at least one episode because I'm usually up at that time anyway. I don't sleep. They don't let me.
Wow.
So I'm going to watch
Roger doesn't
one
let you?
episode.
The voices.
I meant the demons, but the voices, it's all of this.
And you'll still
it's
go
all
to work.
synonymous.
You'll still go to work.
I'll absolutely go to work the next day.
3 hours and 38 minutes.
I've beaten my body into submission that I need about 3 to 4 hours sleep max.
What? How much sleep do I need?
No, how you plan to watch it?
Well, okay, I'm gonna confess something. I'm not a Luddite. I'm not anti-technology by any means. I don't have streaming Netflix.
Okay.
I'm not like hooked up. I don't pay for that. I get Netflix physical DVDs.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to be that dude that might wait for them to come out with it on DVD in 3 months.
Nah,
because
dude,
they will.
You have a friend with a password.
That's-
you
there
do.
you go. That's true.
Everybody has a friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
This might be the thing that forces me to get into that streaming world.
Right. Might be worth your $7 just for the month.
No, I know exactly.
Alex and Ada, anyone reading this series?
That's the Lunar Brothers shit.
Yes.
I have
yeah.
yet to get in this,
I love
but
it. It's really good.
Lunar Brothers are always good.
Always. I found one of the books I was missing, but I still haven't found the other one.
Which one?
I lent
There
you
was
girls, Swords. I don't have Swords #1 of the 4 trade paperbacks.
Right.
But anyways.
Really? Did I lose that on
I need
you?
to go through storage.
'Cause
My
you-
storage is a big fucking mess.
I mean, if I lost it on you, I'll buy you a new one.
No, let me go to storage first.
You know who might have it?
Adam?
Motherfucking Cheeseburger. Or Adam.
Okay. Well, anyways, it's a good book.
Yeah.
It's freaking great.
And it's good to see guys like that are always making quality books.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know?
If you had to trade places with any comic book villain, who and why?
Ooh.
Oh, interesting.
Doom. He has his own fucking kingdom.
Yeah, but Doom is ugly.
Doom's got to hurt in life otherwise.
Like, Doom, he's just, like, he could fix his face with magic, but he won't.
Right.
Because he's stubborn. So I'm going to have to do Magneto.
Okay. Yes, that's a good one.
Magneto's pretty cool.
Magneto's a good one. Yeah.
I just thought of Sinestro. I don't know why.
He's badass.
He is kind of cool.
Last question, Deadpool. Who knew Fox could get it right? Hold up, Sinestro. The costume, all the little snippets they're showing us. Let's just wait.
Wait, can we just have a word about the marketing scheme at this point?
It's just smart. It's brilliant. But I'm not going to say Fox did it right yet.
Fox released an official photo
Yeah.
yesterday when Deadpool 45 came out with the death of Deadpool.
Right.
Has Ryan fucking Reynolds on the toilet with the issue.
On the what?
Shitting, reading the book, and looking at the camera.
On the what?
On the toilet.
He said turlet.
On the toilet.
Greenpoint.
He knows. He knows.
Brooklyn. But that's amazing. I mean, it seems like for the first time, Fox is talking to the fans.
Right.
In a way that they never did with their other Fox Marvel movies.
They're actually firing
level.
back, and
Yeah.
good.
And they seem like someone who's doing the marketing is clued in to the comic book
They
world.
have a geek
Finally.
involved in the
Whereas in the
process.
past, it wasn't so much
It just
like
suits.
that.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
So those are our Sinestro questions.
And that picture of Deadpool on the Burt Reynolds rug,
Oh, yeah.
like that old Burt Reynolds photo from the 70s, was hilarious. It was brilliant.
I just have to say that I would be Magneto because
Oh my God.
I could throw people into space. Like if somebody,
And
let's
that's
say,
what the voices at night at 3 a.m. tell him to do.
like
is
if
throw
somebody,
throw
if
people
I
into space.
honed my powers, right? Like if
Oh
I
my
were
God.
really good at it,
That's
if I'm in
this week's
traffic,
episode of
I could
Peace
just clear the expressway. If somebody cuts me off, I could just
Traffic.
raise the car into the stratosphere. Could you imagine motherfuckers just driving and he cuts you off and all of a sudden he's like, and he just looks out the window and there's the earth getting smaller
But
and
if you're
smaller.
Magneto, why would you drive?
Because I don't want other motherfuckers knowing what I can do.
Yeah.
They'll be building sentinels in a heartbeat.
There is a strange logic to that. Strange, twisted
Yeah,
logic.
it's sad.
If I
It's sad.
really get good at it, somebody's gonna piss me off in the street. I'll be looking at it and I can feel the iron running through their brain and be like, aneurysm.
Whoa, that's
End this part.
he's a little
What?
violent.
End this part.
This part
This part.
and this part. What
Yes.
and what about it?
Of the basement.
How could they see the rest of the show?
Oh, end with an E.
Yes.
Fucking homonyms. Damn it. Well, guys, according to our director, it's that time again. So if you want to watch the rest of the shenanigans going on with me, Tony, and Ramon, you can download and watch the rest of this episode for 99 cents. It's yours to keep for 2 days, and then it magically deletes itself. The internet fairies come in.
Like
and
the
just-
Mission Impossible files. Shit explodes. Your mission, should you choose to accept it. This recording will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
How have I never made that comparison?
Whiskey.
Yeah, that's probably why. If you do want to keep it and you don't want your computer to explode, for $1.99 you get to download it, invite your friends over, have a Pete's Basement party. And for $3.99 you get to have the entire thing, the whole month of Pete's Basement, everything that we put out, from the behind the scenes to all the extras, early access to the episodes, early access to the contests and shit that we do. And
For a full month.
for a full month
awesome.
for $3.99, as well as you get 6 months for the price of 6 weeks for the price of 4. You get 6 weeks for the price of 4.
It's a lot
You
of
order
math.
it. You get 2 weeks to try it out for nothing. And if you don't like it, you can cancel anytime and you don't get charged. Or you just watch the rest of it and be like, Pete's Basement's fucking awesome, because obviously it is.
It is.
I mean, you've made it this far. This is like 25 minutes of your life you
Yeah.
cannot have back.
And I can
So-
attest that the actual basement itself, now having seen it, is amazing. The basement is a thing of beauty in and of itself.
Why, thank you, sir. And thank you again for being on
Oh,
the program.
my pleasure.
The door
My
is open
pleasure.
anytime.
Chin chin.
Salute.
Cheers. Ramon, thank you.
And if you don't want to watch the rest of it, make sure you get on peachbasement.com and download the audio files. P.S. We're going to be reviewing Hellboy and the BPRD issue 5 later on in the audio, so make sure you watch that. Obviously, we still have a lot of these Alex Mayleave posters to
Thank
give
you,
away.
Mr. Mayleave.
Thank you, sir.
They are incredible.
I believe we have like 10 left. So
and they're signed.
they
by
are
him.
signed by Alex Mayleave right there. Let me just show you a full one, just in case this is your very first episode.
It's a
that you're
damn
ever
pretty
watching.
drawing, too.
Yeah.
So
He's good.
this Tuesday, we are going to do one big ass internet fucking giveaway. Instagram and Twitter. Just hashtag the Southern Bitch Pete's Basement Contest Hellboy. Because I don't know what number we're up to. I've lost count. All you got to do, guys, is hashtag the shit on Instagram or Twitter, Pete's Basement Contest Hellboy, because I don't remember what contest number we're actually up to. I've lost count a long time ago. And when you do it, tag 2 of your friends in it so that they can enter for you as well, so you get extra chances. Pete's Basement Contest Hellboy for your chance to win one of 10 signed Alex Mayleave posters. And of the winners, of the 10 winners, we're going to choose one more name, and we're going to give away all 5 issues of the series. Oh.
Of the actual series itself.
Yes, not signed, though. I mean, we could sign it, but that's not going to be worth anything.
No.
So, yeah.
BPRD 1952.
It's a really great series,
It is,
too. We're going to
yeah.
talk about that in a little while. So, guys, this Tuesday, Instagram and Twitter, Pete's Basement Contest Hellboy. Hashtag it, tag 2 of your friends, and if they're really your friends, they'll hashtag it back with your name in it. So this way you're entered into the contest multiple times, because that's what friends are for. And we're your friends too, because we give away awesome shit. See you next week, guys. Salud.
Cheers.
So I guess the most important thing to talk about this week is Convergence.
Yeah, I guess.
With
Yeah.
its 900 extra titles.
Big event.
Basically, issue 1 is just different sections of characters realizing that I thought it was whole worlds that Brainiac had stolen, but he just stole Gotham City.
A drink that we dubbed Mojo Joe Juice, because of course, why the fuck not?
Right.
It was
Because Powerpuff Girls was awesome.
Girls, blackberry. It was Black House
And cranberry juice.
And if you were really fucked up, you would put an icy in there.
What?
Yeah.
I never had it with no icy.
Well, we were really fucked up.